In this budget that you see here today, it's a budget about priorities. And being the former budget chairman, I can tell you budgeting is about priorities. And these are democratic beliefs and ideas that we want to make sure that we help the working class of the state of New Jersey.
Well, I think the budget bill as amended by both the Assembly and the Senate has taken a noticeably different path than the governor's original proposal. Number one, we have fully funded the pension.
This budget makes the payment. Where the governor said it couldn't be done, this is the second year in a row that we demonstrated, in fact, it could be done. Because anyone sitting at home watching this knows when a bill comes due, you have to pay it. And we have an obligation. This budget delivers on the promise made to make the pension payment.
At the end of the day, regardless of your political persuasion, this state has an obligation to those who are public employees, not only just to celebrate their service, but to meet our obligations.
I think this budget underscores our responsibility to adhere to the fiscal challenges we have in this state. We have obligations, we have bills to pay, and quite honestly, this budget recognizes that and does it. As I was often taught, you don't always get to live your dreams, but you have to live your responsibilities.
And number two, we have made higher education into a priority. Funding of 2 different medical schools, which are desperately needed in the state. Additional funds for Montclair, for Rowan, for a number of other institutions. It's a great step forward.
We've spoken plenty of times how education not only leads to economic development and growth, but it's obviously one of the big drivers that we have in this state. And I think that if you see our budget on the Democratic side, you see some increases on higher ed learning. So that's going to be a huge drive, not only for the children of this state, but obviously with economic development and construction and moving forward.
One area that we are positive, and I believe it's at 19.7 million for increased funding for issues in the city of Paterson. With that funding, you'll be able to save a bunch of jobs in the city of Paterson, such as after-school programs, SAT prep, credit recovery programs, programs that involve athletics, programs that involve summer activities that will enhance academic opportunities and the future of our students here in the state of New Jersey.
One other priority that's very important is women's health. It's something that I think it's important that we need to be funding it. We need to make sure that they're getting their screenings, and prevention and wellness is important, so we need to fund this.
And that's a big issue. You know, you're talking about over 35,000 residents that have lost access to some of these centers. And it's a constant issue when you have urban areas specifically that have a huge issue with family planning. And some of these women, these centers were the only way that they can have certain checks and procedures done. The
Earned Income Tax Credit, which the governor cut a number of years ago, we took a look at that because, you know, when the governor cut the Earned Income Tax Credit, he essentially raised the income tax for the lowest earners on the scale. We have gone back now and rectified that.
In this budget, we have funding for UEZ, something that has been taken away 100%. We're putting back 30% of it, that now it allows this money to be invested in these areas that were blighted areas that now have become economic engines for these urban areas. And it's very important for be able to upkeep them for public safety, sanitation. So we want to make sure we invest in our communities to get money back. So this budget is a good budget. It's a great Democratic budget, that it's different from what the governor had brought to our attention in his proposed budget. I think this one highlights the importance of making sure the working class of the state of New Jersey is protected.